Can y'all believe we've been going all day? I can, because I've been here all day. Y'all now have me in my comfy blanket. Okay? That's where y'all have me now. I'm in my comfy blanket. Comfortable, very, very comfortable. Hey, Yvette, bring you on. I don't know why I was texting the wrong person. I was like, are we getting on? Are we getting on? I have so many lives happening now that I'm just like, I'm contacting the wrong people. That's why I should have actually got my personal assistant on this, but I didn't. I decided that I was going to go on a whim. I didn't want to add the extra work, so this is my fault. But I want to invite Yvette on. So come on, Queen. Let's get on the live. Let me get her. That I was able to join a couple of her things. I joined her workshop. I've been in her rooms on Clubhouse, and we're going to talk today about what she does. We're going to get to know the woman behind the brand, and I've also been able to talk to her on a Zoom call, which was really cool. Because I got to know a little bit more about her and what she stands for. I also got to know a little bit about her background. I also got to know a little bit about what she's looking to do with her business goals and all the things that she's working very hard to accomplish now. So, Yvette, now that you're here, oh, you got a mustache, girl. They don't look. The filters be life. If you
Right.
don't, if you don't have filters on Instagram, get some. This is
Okay.
this right here. This, if y'all know how I really feel right now, I'm tired. But the filters give you life. And so, Yvette, you look beautiful, by the way. You came with all the glowiness and the beautiful appeal. So, thank you for blessing us today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I love it. So, listen, we're going to get started. I want to get to know more about Yvette. So, Yvette is someone that I think is absolutely fabulous. He comes in the clubhouse rooms, networking with all the W.I.N community members, making sure that she shows up, pulls up, making sure that she also connects and collaborates. Like she's in some of our programs. I know that you do amazing self-development work on you. And you also are, really someone who cares for other people, and I know you're going to share what you want to share today. So I really want to, first of all, let you introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much, Allegra, for the space. Thank you for the time. And as you said, my name is Yvette. I am a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a Gigi of five amazing grandbabies that just are the love of my life. My background is in law enforcement for the past 23 years. I've been out there fighting crime, trying to protect the community, and trying to get the bad girls and guys off the streets to keep the streets safe for you all. But 14 years ago, I had a bit of a change in my life, Allegra, and things shifted a little bit. So I had to pivot with the shift, right? And to be quite honest, I was caught off guard by the shift. But I'm so thankful that I was able to pivot and I was able to land on my feet. And in doing that, I got introduced to a phenomenal service that helped me in several different ways, to be honest, Allegra. One, it helped me to be able to journey through that experience that I had in my life to be able to get, adequate support, information, and guidance. And then it also allowed me to be able to add an additional income stream to my household because I had lost it, right? I was down to a one income household, and I definitely wanted to continue to maintain the lifestyle that I had created for my children. But I couldn't do it on my income alone. And so after being introduced to the phenomenal services, I said, you know what? These services are just too phenomenal for me to leave them and keep it to myself. And so, I don't know about you or our listeners, but I definitely didn't grow up in a household where, my mom or my family was talking about having access to attorneys, right? The only time I heard about attorneys is either on TV or when somebody got in trouble. And they said, well, you got to call a lawyer. But I didn't hear people talking about calling a lawyer to get advice about, should I take the severance package or not? I didn't hear people talking about contacting an attorney about reviewing a lease before I lease an apartment, or reviewing a contract before I purchase a car, or reviewing my closing documents when I purchase a home, right? You go to the closing and you have the notary there and you have your agent there, but I didn't hear people talking about having an attorney review those documents. And so again, my background is in law enforcement, Allegra, and I honestly, naively thought that attorneys just were for bad people, to be honest. I mean, I'm just being full transparency. Until I realized that they weren't, right? And once I realized that they weren't, I said, wow, we have been served the wrong Kool-Aid for a lot of years, right? And so, again, after having that experience, after being able to have access to quality legal representation for a fee that was affordable for me, right? Because we understand that most Americans are priced out of the legal industry. Why? Because the attorneys are expensive. And so most people try to go about it on their own. They Google stuff. They ask friends and family members. But when I discovered a way to be able to provide quality legal protection to people, and most specifically business owners, small business owners and entrepreneurs, because what I know, and especially over the last 3 years since the pandemic, there have been a lot of businesses that have been birthed, and that is wonderful, right? Like, go get it, let's grind. What we know is that wealth, you can't obtain wealth working a 9 to 5. I still work a 9 to 5, so I'm not knocking it, but I do understand that in order to obtain wealth, I will never be able to do that working a 9 to 5 in and of itself. But in the birthing of all these major businesses, I began to ask myself and ask some business owners, are people legally protecting their business? Like, are people really setting their businesses up properly? Are they getting the trademarks that they need? Copyright. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. And so to be able to help small business owners and entrepreneurs to take that off of their plate, because what we know is that being a small business and an entrepreneur, you're wearing a lot of different hats, right? You're wearing so many different hats. And so I want to help take that legal piece off of the plate, and allow you business owners to do what they do best, be available to their clients, dream about new ideas on how to expand their business, how to grow their business, to build their business with new team members, and not have to worry about that legal piece. Is somebody going to sue me? Are my contracts proper? Is my business actually formulated properly? If I am involved in a tax audit, do I know a business tax attorney? I mean, it's so much that's involved in being a business owner. And so it's way more than just getting the LLC. You can go and get the LLC and you're done with that in about 30 minutes, right? You wait for it to come in and you're done. And people say, hey, I got an LLC and I got a business. Yeah, you have a start. But what about all the other things that go along with being a business owner, and a small business owner at that? And so what we know is that every place that we go, these big box places, they have a legal department. Don't think that they don't. They have a legal department. Because they have the resources to do that. We patronize them, we buy things from them, and they pay their legal department. But as a small business owner and an entrepreneur, where's your legal department? You don't have one, but you're still operating as a business. You're still taking people's money. You're still, delivering goods and services online. You're still sharing information with people, but where's your protection? And so that's what I've been doing for the last 14 years, alongside with my 9 to 5. It's just really sharing the awareness of the importance of being able to have access to legal services.
I think that's amazing.
I've never seen you speechless, Allegra. I've never heard you be speechless.
It's late too, so
Right.
it's been a long day, but I think
bet.
it's amazing, and I think for all that you just gave, there's so many examples of why you need to have the service, and just to share a personal experience. I know that most people are like, "What is she talking about? Like, what legal service? What company?" Y'all mostly know the company. Like, we haven't said the name, but I'm sure you probably said it in your head. And I think that just with regards to you saying that you had a situation that you had to use it, I've had clients in situations where they're like, Allegra, can you give me a lawyer? You know, and then I send them to a lawyer. And here's a real true story, y'all. This is like, I'm telling you something that actually happened. I have a lawyer that helps me in my business. You know, they help with all types of things. You know, you have lawyers for different things. Trademarking, you want to make sure you have legal procedures for that. Make sure you have compliance things in order in your business. So lawyers help with so many different aspects. But for me, I didn't have a personal legal situation that I needed to get a lawyer for. But I knew that in business, if I didn't have someone to really speak on my behalf, then I could be risking it all. Really, because signing on a dotted line, it just means that you are looking at all of the things that protect you and your company. If you don't have a legal professional that can see all of the guidelines that are listed in there, see what it needs to be in there that you don't know about, then you can really be missing out on opportunities. And let me tell you one thing I know about companies that are effective is that they make sure they put all of the stuff in the contract, because they want to protect themselves. And so I love that you provide that. I've actually referred my clients over to, you know, individuals like yourself. So, you know, when it comes down to that resource, y'all have to know, even if you have a business that you don't, you know, necessarily like, maybe you don't use legal services a lot, but if you have any contract signing, that you can use a legal professional through what, you know, you're offering, and it doesn't have a high cost. So what I want to say here though is that the services, I want to get a little deeper, because the services you offer, the reason why it's important to you is why people would normally buy. So let's dig a little deeper, because what is it that you're talking about when you say the stuff that you had to go through that really made you push to this point of saying, I have to get a lawyer? And what would that look like for other people? You know, I know that there are situations in, you know, like I've seen people get caught up in divorces and they're like, I can't afford to get out of a divorce. Now I'm stuck. And, or, you know, my husband can afford it, but I can't. And now I'm kind of like in a very bad position because now he's going to take everything. You know, so what does it look like for people? And I want you to talk about that first, because I know that people can get the services, but what kind of pain points are they having that you can solve for them? And then I'm going to ask you another question that's more personal to you, which is going to be, what was the thing that you talked about that said, I have to make this shift and get a legal professional? So let's just start with the pain points.
Right. So some of the pain points that people face every day is just how what do I do next? Is what they're saying to me, is this correct? What are my rights in this particular situation? One of the services that we have is 24/7 emergency access, and so what we know is that it's critical, especially for our Black, brown people, to be able to know that in an emergency situation, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, if they're involved in an emergency situation, they're being arrested or detained by law enforcement, if they're being pulled over, that they can tap the app and be able to get access to an attorney right there on the spot. Doesn't matter what time of the
Okay,
day
can
it
we
is.
stop there for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Only because here's the thing. We have so much of that happening where people get stopped by law enforcement, and then they're like, well, what do I do? Do I press record on my Instagram and go live? Do I, you know, do like, and so here's the thing. There's something that law enforcement says to you when you get into a situation where, if you're really, really intentional, you know the rules, you know the law, then you can say something like, I need to reach out to my attorney
Right.
before you take me there.
Right.
So tell me about that, because you're in law enforcement. This is
Yes.
your wheelhouse. This is like
Mm-hmm.
what you did. And I didn't even go into the whole thing about the background of why you did that. We're gonna go there. But what about this part? Because a lot of people face this nowadays. They get a little fearful around, like, what if I get into a situation with law enforcement? What does that look like? You know, if I need a lawyer. So you're saying that you provide a resource where in that moment, as they're being before they're being detained, they can say, wait, I got to reach out to my lawyer. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And so again, 14 years ago, when I was sitting in front of that gentleman, he shared that, I said, wow. Because what I know is that being in law enforcement, when you interact with police officers and people in law enforcement, you really only have two rights: the right to contact your attorney and the right to remain silent. You don't have the right to get smart aleck. You don't have the right to disobey orders. You have the right to contact your attorney. You have the right to remain silent. Most times people don't do either of those. They don't have an attorney to contact and they don't remain silent. And so things get gray. But with this service and the app on your phone, you and all your covered family members have the right to tap the app and say, you know what, I need to contact my attorney. And so what I tell people is that if you're riding with somebody or if somebody is nearby, you tell them, record this on their phone, use their phone to record it, but you use your phone to access your legal rights, like right there on the spot. Because I've had to use it. The daughter that, well, I didn't really tell the story, but I have two children. My daughter was away at college and she was home for a weekend and she got herself arrested. And it was 2:37 in the morning. And I was able to tap the app and contact the attorney. She had just turned 18. And at the exact same time, the police officer was calling me to say, hey, we have your daughter. We're getting ready to take her to jail. I said, I know. And I'm talking to my attorney on the other end, and they want to know, what are you detaining her for? He said, ma'am, your attorney, it's 2:37 in the morning. Don't worry about that. There was a brief silence. And he said, ma'am, come get your daughter.
Wait.
Wait.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute. Wait a minute. I'm blown right now. So this is what's so funny to me because when you know you're right, this is where people get stopped and they really do. They stop in their tracks and they're like, whoa, 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 what?
Right.
So the fact that this man asked you, or woman, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but the fact that they asked you about your attorney being available at 2:30 something in the morning, like that was irrelevant. Like what?
Right. It was irrelevant.
So they were
But it caught him off
just
guard
as shocked as
and shock. It
yeah.
was in shock. It was in shock. And so I was able to go get my daughter and I was excited. But as I was driving there, I still was heartbroken because I thought about all the other young people whose family don't have this service and their children get caught up in the criminal justice system. Just as simple as that. Coming out of a club, she wasn't moving as fast as they wanted her to move. And so they arrested her. But I was able to go and get my daughter. Another situation, there was a member, a young man, three of them in the car. They were pulled over. The officer said, can I search your car? And the young man said, sure. There was a book bag in the back, Allegra, and there was some marijuana in the book bag. Three people, right? Officer says, who's it? Nobody want to fess up. So they said, well, we are going to jail. The young man said, wait, officer, my parents told me if I ever had a situation like this, that I needed to tap the app to contact my attorney. The officer said, absolutely. The attorney said to the officer, unless it's your intent to charge my client, it's illegal to charge more than one person for a possession charge. So unless you're going to charge my client, you need to release my client. Guess what? His client was able to go. But the other two guys that was in the car with him, whose parents did not have this service, they went to jail. But Allegra, it's still illegal to charge more than one person for a possession charge. But when you don't know your rights, you don't have any rights. And so, again, a pain point, peace of mind when you have, your children that are away at college. They may not be home with you. They're away at college. They're good kids, right? But they might be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they have a situation that comes up, and what I want to call mommy, but no, they can't, especially when they turn 18, they cannot do it. And so we have to educate our young people on knowing what their rights are and understanding that they can have a relationship with an attorney without being in trouble or anything like that, being able to tap the app and get access right there and then call you later and say, mommy, daddy, auntie, uncle, this is what happened, but this is what my attorney said. It's powerful to have our young people be able to say, this is what my attorney said. Other pain points, just worrying about so much. So one other time I used it, I was moving out of an apartment and I was trying to get my security deposit back. They jerked me around for about 90 days. The attorney wrote one letter. and told them that because they had not gotten my security deposit back to me in the state of Ohio within 30 days, that they can sue them for double. They demanded my $750. I had been trying for 3 months, Allegra. In a week's time, I had a check in the mail for $1,500. Why? Because they already knew they were out of time frame, and they went ahead and just sent the $1,500 check. Why? Because nobody wants to fight in court. I work in law enforcement. 97% of cases are decided and settled on outside of the courtroom in the hallway. It's called a plea bargain. Not many cases go to trial. Why? Because nobody wants to spend the time, energy, and money to go to trial. So they take a plea bargain. It's the same thing when we're talking about personal law or business law. Nobody, when you say you have an attorney on the case, it changes the game. It changes the game. They start saying, well, wait a minute, because why? You're no longer talking to customer service. When my attorney calls somewhere, he's talking to their legal department. He's not talking to the customer service rep. He's not talking to the supervisor. He's talking to their legal department. And I'm not an attorney. I didn't go to school for law. I just want to let the attorneys do what they do best. They know the law. They practice the law. I don't know the law like that. I know the criminal justice side. I know how to be a mom. I know how to be a friend. I know how to be a business partner. I know how to, I know that. I don't know the law. So I just allow the attorneys to do what it is that they do best. And they know the law, and they call me and tell me all about it. Being able to pick up the phone Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 and 5 and call my attorney and ask any personal business questions and talk to the attorneys for as long as I need to, several times a day if I need to, and never receive a bill is priceless. I never wonder about anything. Is that the final answer? Absolutely. I just pick up the phone and I call my attorney and tell them what's going on, and they'll tell me what my rights are in a particular situation. And so I could just go on and on. I'm not sure if you want me to go to the thing now about
Well,
the pain point.
I think that what you said is really important, and I do have to do another live. So I know we got to get on a call tonight as well because we're going to talk about leadership and in the W.I.N community. And Yvette has been joining me on so many stages and been showing up and personally developing in her own right. So I love the fact that she's helping other people realize what's important, which is making sure that strategy lady Danette said she used it for her daughter. See,
Yes.
I
Yes.
think about some of these families that I've noticed that, usually in the culture that, we have the Black community where we're not taught a lot of these things. And that's why a lot of times our children end up in situations where they don't have to be in those situations. Like when I think about other cultures, not that the crime wasn't committed, it's not that the situation didn't happen. It's just that they had a protective source. And one thing I learned isn't just me. I'm just being real. Like I'm just being the host. I don't know nothing about what Yvette is producing because like I can receive the service, but I'm not the professional. Yvette's the professional. And I've used her services, the company she's talking about that she's very heavily immersed in, that she uses to help you get guided through this process of getting your contracts and orders, making sure protected. I've used it over and over and over and over again. When I say that, I use it in a way where my clients now get the advantage because it's not just for personal gain, it's for business too. Like if you need any contract signed, if you need a legal professional that's going to tell you, yeah, this is what's going to happen. The only person in the courtroom that I found out, this is just because I'm really off, I'm going to give y'all a little tip. The only person in the courtroom that can lie is a lawyer. So I said, well, listen. I said, well, if I can get a legal professional to work on my behalf and act like I'm rich like that, then let me go ahead and pay this little coffee money so
Right.
I can make sure I have someone to cover my back. Because that's
Right.
what people do. They invest in their selves where it comes down to all aspects of their life. It's not just about your business. Because how can you run your business if you're locked up by
Right.
something stupid?
Right.
Or how can
Right.
you run your business if you don't have the right contracts in place and someone sues you? So all these things are really important. So that what I want you to talk about, and I know we're a little late. I have another live that I'm supposed to be running into before we get on. We're just kind of like getting everyone as much room as possible for these lives because these are important. We're going to be featuring these lives on our new platform in January. So the woman behind the brand is really a thing. And
Yes.
so I want to get these out. I'm going to look at the chat as well. I want to make
I
sure we're
saw somebody
answering
put in
these
there that they
questions.
that somebody used it for a speeding ticket, and absolutely, you know, as long as there's no drugs or alcohol that are involved, you have the ability to be able to have an attorney go to court with you or for you to fight that speeding ticket, and you don't pay any cost for the attorney. I know in Ohio, you know, you when you go to traffic court, it's like a big cattle call, right? And they go by last names. But when you show up in court with an attorney, guess what? It's called early call. You don't have to wait. And it's just, I mean, it's powerful to walk in traffic court. We're not talking about criminal court. We're just talking about traffic court. To walk in traffic court with an attorney. And these services are good for people in all 50 states and in Canada. So it doesn't matter where it is that you sign up. Wherever you go, we have partner law firms in all 50 states and in Canada. So it is phenomenal.
Listen, I've hired a actual attorney. Y'all, excuse me, I get my filter back. But I've hired an actual attorney, and I've been in the position where the attorney that I hired charged a lot of money. Like when I say a lot of money, I mean, y'all, like, let's just be real.
Right. That part.
It's
That part.
expensive to have a lawyer.
It's
And
expensive.
when I say like $250 an hour at the lowest of the costs,
Right. Right.
and when I think about some of the legal fees that I've incurred and things, legal fees that I've seen, because I've actually had friends that called me from jail and been like, I need a lawyer. All right.
Right.
Let me call a lawyer. But listen, legal professionals that are in a conglomerate, a way where they can actually resource all of their capabilities together and say, if you need tickets for traffic court, if you need those forgiven, if you need to get help with, you know, family support, family court, if you need something to do with, you know, your own, you know, situation with your landlord, or if you are get caught in a traffic stop. Do you know how many people now where I go on social media and I'm like, someone else got pulled over again and now they got to deal with this? Like, and
Right.
no one, you're right, no one actually calls a lawyer. They record the whole thing.
Right.
And they go through the back and forth with, you know, you did this and I don't like the way you talk to me,
Exactly.
officer, and I'm just going to F you this. And, you know, it's just such a level of just combative disrespect
Right.
towards each other, because at the end of the day, let's just be real, like, we are just human. So
Right.
being upset at someone else because they're doing something, and it's like this whole thought process of being attacked because of something, and I think it's valid on a lot of levels, but then it's being transferred in a message to say that you can deal with all situations this way. And I think that the best way to deal with something when it comes down to the professionals and the legal authoritative individuals, right? Because even though we know that, you know, we vote for people in power, so yeah, like, yeah, we want to get our voices heard, but you get more bees with honey.
Absolutely.
And also, I don't want to be the one that you attacking. Don't come at me, come at my lawyer.
Right.
So what you're
Right.
saying is that people, everyone, no matter who you are, you don't have to have a lot of money, you don't have to be rich, but everyone can have an opportunity to have that. So here's what I want to ask. What happened that made you say, dang, I got to get a lawyer?
What happened was, I woke up one morning and my husband at the time said, I'm not coming home after work. I'm leaving. That's how I looked. Talking about being caught off guard, right? What wasn't expecting it, not at all. And then, so what do? Um, Now half of my income is gone. My children's father is gone, and now I'm facing a divorce. And I didn't have an attorney. I didn't know anything. I was just like lost, right? And so that's what actually drew me to introduce me to the services, because I was able to contact an attorney and call him as often as I wanted to, and he would answer my questions and ease my doubt and my frustrations and all of that, because he told me exactly, he walked me through that entire process. And I'm so grateful to it, right? I'm so grateful to that because without knowing about this service, we might not even be divorced, right? Because it's expensive to get divorced and, paying attorney fees and things like that. And I might not have gotten the things that I was able to get because I didn't know. And so you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so, a lot of people are just trying to figure it out. Like, I'm gonna just get out there and I'll just deal with it when it shows up. You don't want to deal with it when it shows up because you won't have the financial resources to deal with it. And if you do, guess what? You may not be able to rebound. And so I really want all of us to think about position ourselves to be in a proactive position versus a reactive position, right? Proactive, meaning that I already have some things in place. I may not need it, but I definitely want to have it when I do need it versus trying to figure it out when it shows up. And it's time's up for that, especially going into 2023. It's time's up for us trying to figure things out. We want to already have a game plan in place and make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. And when they're not in a row, guess what? You don't have to worry about it anymore. All you got to do is tap the app and let the attorneys do what they do best.
I love that. And we talked a lot about the importance of that. So, in a matter of, I know I've asked you this question before, did you see yourself doing this for a very long time? But what does the goal look like for you? I mean, for yourself personally, in your life, in your business, where do you see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years?
So I see myself, I offer this service now part-time, but I see myself offering it full-time. I see this business replacing my 9 to 5 and me being able to not only offer it to individuals and small business owners, but we also offer this as an employee benefit. And so just like health insurance, dental insurance, whatever, we can go into companies and be able to speak to employees and offer it as an employee benefit. And that's really where my wheelhouse is because I'm passionate about it. And I really want to get this out to as many people as possible. And so in 5 years, I see myself doing that. I see myself traveling. I see myself speaking on stages about what, understanding what your legal rights are, what it looks like to be caught off guard, and things like that. And just really just being out there, sounding the alarm on what it is that we need to do as a people. And also, we really didn't get to talk about the estate planning, but that's a whole nother live that I will have to do at another time. But, estate planning, having your documents in order, all of that is so critical. So that's where I see myself in the next 5 years. Just, you'll hear me talking about, there's Yvette again, just really sounding the alarm and spreading the news about what this service is, what we have, and then what it's been able to do for people all across America. 4.4 million families right now, to be exact. Well, about.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
So listen, we learned a little bit about it. That I know we're gonna have some more space with you because honestly, you're showing up and you're popping up everywhere. And I know people, I know moves. I know when people start making moves, and I'm like making moves. And I want everyone to be able to take advantage of that. So that if you don't mind, put your link in the chat so that people can click on that link and get into your services. And that way you all can get whatever you need from your legal professionals. One thing I don't play about is I'm just a little bougie, right? Like, just FYI. So for those who know me, like my friends, my family, and people, they're like, Allegra likes things that are really the best of the best. And I think I just come from a lineage of that. So when you talk about having a lawyer, a legal professional that can speak on my behalf, I'm good. Like, speak on my behalf anytime. Like, it's like, give me a chauffeur, a maid, a private bartender, and a mansion on a hill. Because at the end of the day, when you have someone that's protecting your vested interest and you know that they're speaking on your behalf, like, I've been caught up in so many situations, and Yvette, I'm so glad. Let me just tell y'all one thing. I'm so glad Yvette is willing to share her transparency in what she went through because I've been, and this is just my personal experience with people. I've had clients that were afraid to, really show up in their business because they were dealing with a legal battle and they didn't have a lawyer. That's real.
That's
That is
real.
so
That's real,
real.
Allegra. A lot
And
of people. And what the American Bar Association says is that one out of 2 people have a legal situation going on right now. So if it's 10 people on the live, 5 of us have a legal situation going on right now. Right now.
Listen.
Right now.
And that could be anything.
That could be
Like you
anything.
added so many layers to this because it's not just about just the legal situation. Because listen, I can tell y'all, I used to get pulled over so many times. Jesus, if I would have known about this when I should have known about this, you know, I used to be so reckless. Like it's just
Right.
so many things. Like, and you just
Right.
like if you could, and think about this. This is one thing I want to leave because you told us where you want to take this thing, and I know you're going to be speaking to major corporations about how to protect their vested interests.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a generational curse breaker, y'all. Like the more and more you talk about these things, and you know, we say, "Oh, we want to break generational curses." Don't let it just be a word. Do the
Yes.
thing.
Do the
Get your
thing.
get your legal professionals in order because now your child doesn't have to worry about if you can handle, you know, taking care of their legal issue. I guess it's a legal
Right.
issue, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
there's a lot of families that I know. Let me tell y'all, go to some of the top high, you know, wealthier families and see if their child get put in jail. It
They
ain't gonna
won't.
happen. As a
They
matter of
won't.
fact, the entire situation is gonna disappear. That if they car hit a tree, the tree is gonna go away.
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
so you know, it's nothing malice about it. It's just protecting the vested interest in a system that's created to do that. People get mad at the legal system. They get mad at the people, like how we're talking about, like being in a car and like cussing an officer out, sticking up your middle finger, getting
Right.
mad. But guess what? Let me tell y'all something. That officer had a bad day too. Like, they have to go out every day and deal with people with bad attitudes, bad situations. Like that's
Yep.
why I have compassion for people because not to
Mm-hmm.
say that there aren't any like people out there that's like really bad in that position, but there's good and bad everywhere. But you
Yeah.
don't know what that person goes through in the day to day. So if you have a legal professional, you don't have to worry about all the stress of it all. Like, did I make this person's day bad? Did I put this
Right.
situation
Right.
make it worse for myself? Now you're just saying, no, I have coverage and protection for myself and my family. So with that being said, I got to leave it because we got to get on
Yep.
another live. And Yvette, I want you to tell them where they need to go to support you. Drop the link. Tell them what you have to offer right now where they can support you.
Right now, you can, like you said, you can book a call with me just to kick it, just to learn a little more. You can always find me on Clubhouse, on those Clubhouse streets. And just telephone, tell a friend, hey, you know, it may not be for you, but check this girl out. She was saying some stuff that kind of made sense for me. But definitely let's get together. Let's make it happen, and let's make 2023 a banner year by making sure that you and your family and everybody that you love have their legal protection in order.
Wonderfully said. Thank you so much, Yvette.
Thank
And I can't
you.
wait to duplicate this live on some other platforms so people can see more about what you do. Make sure that you all join Yvette in this journey. Make sure you get yourself protected. Do all the things you need to do. Even if you have like elder, there's so many layers to this, y'all. We're gonna have to get back on the other live. We
Oh,
gotta
the
get back on
elderly
another live.
people. Oh my God.
Period.
The medical power of attorney. Yeah, we got to do another live because that's a whole nother piece. And parents that have children with special needs. They're not always getting what it is that they need. They're not doing those IEPs properly. But if you don't have an attorney that can make the schools enforce it, guess what? You just dealing with what you're dealing with. So another live.
What?
Yeah.
I was just talking to my friend about that. Low key, y'all. I gotta get on another live. But I was talking to my friend about that. Okay, so I have a girlfriend and her child is autistic and he's beautiful. Like I'm telling you, like the special capabilities, being on the spectrum, I think is a God given ability,
It
okay?
is. It
And
is.
the genius behind it all, but the way people treat you because you're different, the
Mm-hmm.
way people don't understand how to be an add to that, like y'all living in the presence of geniuses. You need to start treating people like they need to be treated. But if you have legal professional services that can get people in alignment with that, I want to hear more about that. So we got to get on another live. All right.
Absolutely. All right.
Let's get
Thank you.
out of here. Thank you so much.
Love y'all. Thanks for
Yvette, you have
joining.
been a blessing to
Yes.
inform us about
Thank
this.
you.
These are definitely really great tips that people need to hear. And I see a lot of people gave you hearts, asked
Yes.
questions, and I hope that we gave you all the great feedback that you needed. Any last words you want to leave us with before we get out of here?
No, I just want everybody to have an amazing new year.
All right. Amazing. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.